What's going on, everybody? Thank you for clicking on the link. Fair Play here, and I'm finally about to do my review for season 2 episode 7. Yeah, from last Wednesday, not this past Wednesday, but from last Wednesday, of Queen Sugar, entitled I Know My Soul. Yeah, I'm just now watching the episode. I know y'all say, what is good, being the one that actually watch my reviews of Queen Sugar. I know they're like, okay, where's she been? What's she been up to? But yeah, I'm here. I work like a Hebrew slave, but I had to get it in. And once I start something, I'm the type of person I have to finish it. So let's get started, shall we? I'm gonna be quick with this as I possibly can be, because Queen Sugar, that particular episode was really good. It was really deep. The way they wrote that particular episode was kind of, everybody had their own little issue going on. So I'm going to kind of tell it, I'm going to review it from that perspective of Charley's issues, Nova's issues, Ralph Angel's issues, or whatever surrounding this wheel situation. That's how I'm going to do it, and I'm going to try not to ramble. I did not take a whole lot of notes this time. I only did a few, just some points, just so I can remember a few pointers from it. I'm not trying to be as detailed as I have been for the sake of time, because it takes so long to actually upload these videos sometimes. So I'm gonna try to keep it simple and give a, a breakdown or a rundown of what's going on with everybody in episode 7. I know I've got episode 8 to review. I was gonna put it on with this one, but for the sake of time, I'm gonna do a separate video. Yeah, so let me just get started. Let me just start from, give a little overview of what's going on. As we know, Ralph Angel, because I'm pretty sure everybody has figured out what has happened, because we're at the mid-season finale, and Ralph Angel had basically told everybody that he's got this will, or that he found this will supposedly from Earnest, and everybody's in their feelings. So we're in the aftermath of that. Charley and Nova were so mad and angry that they were actually about to leave the house, leave Aunt Vi's house, because they so hurt about it. And I don't know why they so mad about some property that they didn't even care anything about. But I realized even in that moment, before the show even went on, that their issues were deeper than that land, because they didn't care anything about the land, you would think. So anyway, Aunt Vi stopped them and told them, y'all need to stay here and settle this. That's one of the things I like about Aunt Vi. She's good at bringing everything to an apex. She's saying, look, y'all gonna settle this. We're not gonna have no loose ends. You need to deal with this. You need to talk about it and get whatever it is going on with you. We need to settle it, okay? So they decide to stay. Charley's walking around crying. Nova's crying. I don't know why. I do not like Nova. Charley made me mad. Nova made me mad. Ralph Angel made me mad. But Nova I don't like. And I've been saying that for the longest, for many reasons. Sometimes she can be a good supportive sister, but overall I do not care for Nova. I just don't. Her whole demeanor, and I don't know if the writers have done that on purpose, the way they write her into the scenes, but she irks my soul. I'm telling you. I wonder if there's anybody that feels the same way I feel about Nova. And I'm going to explain kind of why, I don't like her. But, excuse me, before I go there, Charley's walking around talking about she can't believe that Earnest would even leave a will like that. I can't believe he would do this. He wouldn't do this. Like, she knows him so well. He wouldn't do this. He would not leave you this land like this. And Ralph Angel said, yes, he would. And you know how I know he would? Because he did. Of course, that seemed a little arrogant. Nova jumps in and says, get off your high horse, Ra. And he's like, he jumps up and tell her no. He goes off on her at that point. And so she's like, you weren't even coming around. He tells Charley, you was in LA. He tried, if you had done what he asked you to, you was the one he was calling. If you had did what he wanted you to do, this never would have happened. And she tried to make an excuse like she was on her way down here. He told her, no, when you got ready, you was on your way down here. That's what he told Charley. She had to shut up then. And Ralph Angel was right. You weren't even here. He tried to get you to come here, and you wouldn't even come. We all remember episode 1 when he was talking to her on the phone, and she kept making excuses about when she was going to come see him. And then he told Nova, you was right up the road, and you wouldn't even come down here. And she couldn't say anything either, because she knew he was right. And so Nova asked him, so why are you just not telling us? And so Aunt Vi at that point was about to interrupt and explain that she was the one. I know she was about to tell him that, I was the one that told Ralph Angel not to say anything, but Ralph Angel interrupted her, and he took the he said, I wanted to wait to the right time, because we know Ralph Angel has been wanting to tell Charley that he found that will. But he took up for Aunt Vi in that moment. And then Charley's questioning him about why didn't you do something? You didn't know that Daddy was working as a janitor and all that. And so they having this conversation. Ralph Angel's like, you can't put all that on me and make it my fault that he was working as a janitor to try to hold on to the land. He said, I didn't even know either. And he was saying that if he could have, he would have did it for him. And of course, Charley didn't believe that. And so Aunt Vi was trying to tell everybody to calm down. I mean, they having this big argument about it. And Ralph Angel is pleading his case. He's standing his ground, which I'm glad that he did. He told them the truth. I don't care what anybody says. He may be a spoiled brat, but he did tell them the truth in that moment, okay? And so Aunt Vi tried to get him to calm down and told him to hush, but then Nova was like, nah, we all right. And she gonna say she tired of talking about it. This is one of the reasons I don't like her, because her attitude when she gets mad. I'm tired of talking about it. I need to see this will now. And she hollered like she had some power or authority over the situation. And of course, Ralph Angel didn't go off on her. You know, I know this is TV, but if this was real life, she would have been thoroughly ate up for talking like that, because I wouldn't have showed her nothing at that point. I didn't like her attitude. She acted the same way. In season 1, do you remember when Charley came home, Nova cut up with her like that? Nova was real nasty to Charley when in season 1, and I didn't like her then. I ain't never really cared for Nova because of her attitude. She did get it together eventually, but she was just mad hateful from the beginning. So anyway, and I'm trying to figure out what she does anyway. Yes, she came over and helped them clean those flies off of that sugar cane, but Ralph Angel and Charley are the only ones that really work the farm. So I'm trying to figure out why she feel like she even got a... I'm sorry, y'all. Maybe I'm just going too far. Maybe I'm taking it too personal with Nova, because I know too many people really that's like her. And I just don't like her character at all. Okay? So anyway, at some point, I want to say that they leave the room or whatever after, no, Ralph Angel actually goes outside to get the wheel. And there is Darla and Little Blue and Hollywood are sitting out playing Go Fish, all right? And he comes out and he goes to get the wheel. He comes back and he tells them, he said they want to see it, so I'm going to go ahead on and show it to him. So he brings it in the house and he hands it to, I guess, to Charley or whatever. And they read through it and whatnot, and they got their own opinions about it, and Nova's got her own opinion about it. And actually, Aunt Vi sits down and reads it out loud to them. And she reads everything that's in the will to them, okay? They sitting up there upset and mad. They go at it a little bit further. Nova is telling him, you know, well, before they actually get off into the details of it and they go off on them, at some point, they do walk out of the room. Going back to Charley, Aunt Vi talks to Charley first. She has a conversation with Charley. Charley, her problem with the will is she feels like everything is always the same and everything is always about Ralph Angel and everybody's got to bend over backwards to help him. And Aunt Vi tells her, she says, you know, you're supposed to help the ones that need help the most. And that's when Charley goes into her spiel about she needs help sometimes too, who's gonna fight for her. But the thing is, nobody knows what she was going through. Nobody knew that Charley was having a hard time. She was way in LA. She didn't tell anybody that she needed help. She carries herself as if she doesn't need help. So I don't even know why she was trying to blame anything on Ralph Angel. It's not his fault that his daddy spoiled him. I keep saying that it's not his fault that he did that. I mean, he's a grown man now. He's responsible for his actions now. But they cannot be mad with him for the way his daddy felt about him, okay? So Aunt Vi talks to her and she encourages her and she lets her know everything's going to be all right or whatnot. During that scene, Hollywood comes in and brings Little Blue in because he done went to sleep, and he takes him and lays him down. And Aunt Vi is concerned about whether or not Little Blue heard anything, but Hollywood says he doesn't heard anything, but he knows something is wrong. But he assures her, like Hollywood does, that everything is going to be all right. So y'all, I don't want to leave anything out because I feel like it's some stuff that I'm missing from the beginning when they're having this conversation with Ralph Angel. She's, like I said, she's really upset about other things that have nothing to do with really Ralph Angel. or the land, but it's about her relationship with her father. That's the problem. She told Aunt Vi that she was thankful how she made a home for her, because she didn't even have her own room at Earnest's house. And that's probably because Earnest's house was so small and he had a wife and 2 other kids, but Aunt Vi always kept a room for her, and Aunt Vi made her feel like family. She never made her feel like an outcast, and she thanked her for that. And so that was a sweet scene between the 2 of them. But you know, for some reason, when Charley starts crying and getting upset, I don't feel anything. I don't feel anything, probably because of the way that she acts most of the time. It's just real hard for me to really feel any kind of compassion for her. And I'm a very sensitive person, but I just didn't feel anything when she started crying. I just don't. I just like looking at her like, oh, okay. So anyway, I hate to say that, but I'm like, okay. But it was good. She needed to get this out. It was for her well-being that this happened, and you know, I'm happy about that. So then she goes in. At some point she talks to Ralph Angel. She sits down after she calms down. She begins to calm down first, and she talks to him. But before she ever got to that point, yeah, she begins to sit down and have a conversation with him. And she's like, what are you going to do about the farm? And she's so worried about the farm that wasn't even left to her. I understand her concern. And Ralph Angel is sitting there telling her, you know, I'll handle it. I ain't going to ask you for nothing. I can do what I got to do. She's like, what does that mean? I just do what I need to do. Dad left me this farm. He wanted me to raise Blue and my family on it. And she was like, but I'm concerned about the future. And she really... Since he left it to Ralph Angel, if she wants him to be grown, she needs to let Ralph Angel deal with it, you know. But she's trying to take on the burden of that land that's not even hers, that she's so upset about, that she's really not upset about. Y'all, I'm just confused with the way they feel about this property. But Ralph Angel, now a lot of people got mad with Ralph Angel. I seen comments on threads about the show, and people saying Ralph Angel acting like he big and bad, and he know he can't run no property by himself, and that's true. But y'all, in Ralph Angel's defense, Charley and Nova attacked him from the very beginning. And if this were real life, if somebody attacks you about something and blames you for something that you have no control over, I think depending on the type of person you are, if you're sensitive like I am, you might respond to them the same way that he responded. Ralph Angel reminds me a lot of my oldest brother. When you say the wrong thing to him sometime and you upset him and hurt his feelings, he'll act like that with you too. He'll get a little prideful when they get their butt on their shoulders. And that's pretty much what Ralph Angel was doing. He was responding that way because of the way that they had talked to him. He didn't know if he could trust them. Y'all done attacked me, and instead of talking to me sweet, like Charley was talking to him sweet at this point, she should have done that from the beginning. But she attacked him from the beginning. They really did. They ganged up on him from day one. I mean, from point one about this will. And so he was responding in kind. You know, I'm not saying it was right, but I understand. I mean, you can't just talk to people like a dog and then expect them to respond the way you want them to respond to you. So anyway, she's sitting there having a conversation with him, and he's telling her, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'll take care of it some kind of way. And then here comes Nova. Nova comes in with the will, and she's attacking him again. She's like, you know why Daddy left this to you? Probably because he said in this letter, you the one that needs it, loves it, and needs it the most. Probably because he knew you was going to mess up, and that you've always, basically, I'm paraphrasing, you've always been a screw up, and you couldn't be trusted. You've never been able to be trusted and all this. And at that point, this is another reason I don't like her. She's talking about trust. And y'all, I'm not holding a grudge, but I can't forget how she stole $10,000 from Charley in season 1. They never really addressed that. They addressed it in that moment and they just left it alone. She stole money from her sister, okay? She stole $10,000 to pay to bail somebody out of jail, okay? Too sweet. And she's saying that she can't trust Ralph Angel? Are you serious? So I don't like her. Like I said, I don't know if they do that on purpose. I don't know what the situation is, but she gets on my nerve because Nova can't seem to see herself for some reason. She keeps pointing the finger at everybody else but Nova. So anyway, I'm trying to move on for her, but every time I think about her, I get mad. So anyway, she's attacking him, and then Charley once again is trying to talk to him, and she's telling him, what are you gonna do? And so as they're explaining to him that he can't handle this land by himself, Aunt Vi sits down and tell him, well, you know, they're right, baby. And I felt like even if Aunt Vi felt like Charley and Nova were right, she probably shouldn't have said that right then. She probably should have just waited before she said that, because like I said before, because of the way that they had talked to him from the beginning, Ralph Angel couldn't receive anything that they were saying. Okay, y'all notice that Ralph Angel was the only one that Aunt Vi did not have a personal conversation with. She talked to Charley and she talked to Nova, but she did not have a personal conversation with Ralph Angel. And so she should have, though. She should have explained it to him later, because he receives things from her a lot better than he does from Charley and Nova. And those two had already made the situation bad, so he wasn't hearing them. He was blocking them out. Whatever they were saying, he wasn't trying to hear. He told Nova, he said, or he told he told Nova, he said something like, he told both of them, y'all don't tell me what to do. And he told her, you don't tell me how to feel. And then he told Charley, you can't tell me what to do. So at that point, they finally actually leave and walk away. So anyway, while Charley is, at some point, before she talks to Aunt Vi, though, Remy calls her. They've got this farmer named his name is Mr. Duval, I think. And he wants to grind his sugarcane at their mill, but he's late. He didn't come on time, so they've got to kind of fit him into the schedule. And so Remy calls her, because he's actually I guess he's her operations manager, and he's letting her know, he said, I got this man here, Duval, and he wants to grind his cane, and so said that if he can get him in, he can fit him into the schedule later on this evening if you give me the okay to do so. And Charlie's like, well, yeah, he can do it as soon as he signs this paperwork. And so Remy felt some kind of way about that. He was like, but I'm vouching for this man. She's like, I understand, I appreciate that, but I still need to sign this paperwork. Now, she was right. They do need to have their ducks in a row, because when it comes down to business, you need to dot all your I's and cross all your T's, because anything could happen. So she was right about that. But he felt like, and the way she was talking to him was like he was somebody she didn't know, or that she didn't have some kind of relationship with. And so he got offended by that. I'm sure he felt like in that moment that Charley was talking to him like he was just another business partner instead of somebody she know. And it was business, but I can understand why he got a little bit offended. He was like, you don't trust me yet, but that's neither here nor there when it comes to business. But I do get why he felt the way he felt. So anyway, while she was talking to him on the phone, at this point she goes in and she tells Darla, she commands Darla. I don't like the way she was talking to Darla in that moment either. She goes to Darla, she tells Darla, I need you. Darla and Ralph are sitting at the table waiting, and she tells Darla, she says, Darla, I need you to go down and get some paperwork together. There's a farmer down there that wants to grind his cane. And she's like, do you know what the paperwork is? And Darla's like, yes, I do, right away. But Ralph Angel would not let her go. So they're going back and forth about that. She tells her he thinks that the reason why Charlie's trying to send her away is so that they can continue to gang up and jump on him. But no, she really needs to get this paperwork out. So he's holding on to Darla and trying to encourage Darla to stay there with him. So that's what happens in that moment. But I'll go back to that scene. He gets mad with her, basically. Okay, when I get ready to talk about Darla and Charley, I'll tell you what happened at that point. So anyway, then later on, the reporter calls Charley, and he wants to come by the next day to actually do the interview and get this story together for her for this magazine spread, or for this article, and he wants to do it on the farm. But because of what's going on, she's like, no, let's do it at the mill. And she gives him this good excuse, because you know she's a businesswoman. She's a visionary when it comes to that, and she's good at making herself look good. So she's like, no, let's do it at the mill tomorrow. We can just make it a thing, and you know, he agrees to it or whatever. And so he says, okay, they get on off the phone with the arrangement to meet tomorrow, the next day, to do her interview and her whatever else they got going on. So then, at some point, Charley is at home, and Charley Davis comes by, and him and Micah actually come to the house, because Micah had left Aunt Vi's house while they're having this argument. He wanted to give them some time alone, so he had left and gone back to Davis's house. So anyway, Davis and Micah comes over while she's there making her smoothie or whatever she's doing, and they bring her coffee, and he brings her a housewarming gift. And the housewarming gift is an ice cream maker that he brought, because when they first got married, she had that on the registry, but he took it off. He didn't want her to have it on there for some strange reason, but because he knows she liked it, here it is 20 years later, he brought her an ice cream maker. She told him, thank you. You didn't have to do this. You know how Charley acts. Once again, she don't need nothing from nobody. You didn't have to do this, but he wanted to do it. And so he also complimented her on how she has decorated this warehouse that she's living in now, and it does look nice in there. And so while they were talking, she lets him know that she is going to tell everybody about the divorce. She's going to tell the reporter Davis doesn't like this. Davis like, wait a minute, so you can just think you can control everything the way you want to control it? Because at one point she told Davis not to tell anybody. Don't reveal that we're getting divorced. Now she's saying, she's changing the course of the situation and saying, I'm going to tell the reporter. So she doesn't even respect Davis's position on the matter. She didn't ask him. She's just going to do what she want to do. Charley made me mad when she does things like this. Just doing what she wants to do without thinking or being considerate of other people. I know Davis did what he did, but she still owe him that respect, okay? Because he's in that marriage too. So yeah, anyway, they have this back and forth. He gets upset with her and she's like, I'm not going to argue with you about it. It's going to happen tomorrow and I'm going to make sure you get good positive coverage. And he's like, sarcastically, he's like, thank you. And finally, he actually leaves, all right? So she's got that to deal with Davis, okay? Okay, so back at Aunt Vi's house, Nova is sitting in there. She calls Robert Dubois. Apparently she was planning on going to visit him, and she had told him that, I think the last time she saw him. She was planning on going to visit him and in Atlanta, but she called him to let him know that she had changed her mind because she got this family situation going on and she's not going to be able to make it, and she'll reschedule with him later. And while she's talking to him, Aunt Vi comes in and she sits there and she asks Nova, she's like, what you got to say about this? As if she hadn't already said enough about the will. And at this point, Nova says, well, what can I say? Daddy left, it was his land to leave to whoever he want. Exactly, it was his land to leave to whoever he want. Land that she wouldn't even come drive by, and she only lived 20 miles away from, okay? She's pissed off about sitting in there crying. I don't like that little night, okay? But Aunt Vi even tells, she said, it can't be about this land. You didn't care about that. So it's got to be something else bothering you. And so she was like, yeah, she basically, you could see it in her face and in her tone that, yeah, something is bothering her. And Aunt Vi say, baby, you got to let me in and tell me what's going on with you. So at this point, Nova explains to her why she's upset. Her daddy wanted her to have kids and give him some grandbabies, and he was constantly bugging her about having grandkids. And Aunt Vi explains to her, that's what daddies do. That's what fathers do. They do that to their daughters. You didn't have to pay him no mind. And so she's like, well, you know, he kept on. Now he just wouldn't let me be. So this is why she stayed away from him, because she felt like she couldn't give him what he wanted, which was grandkids, or she wasn't ready to give him what he wanted. And so she said when, first of all, Charley had one and then Ralph Angel had Blue, and she thought that would satisfy him and he would shut up about it. And he did shut up about it. But then when she heard Aunt Vi read that will out that he gave the land to Ralph Angel, she feels like Earnest was punishing her for not having grandbabies, but she's forgetting. See, this is how she has made this thing personal. She has taken it and she has internalized this thing and made it about her. He didn't leave the land to Charley either, and Charley had a grandbaby for him too. Then she starts talking about how when everything's always about Ralph Angel. Same story that Charley had. It's always about Ralph Angel. Everything's about him. He didn't care about nobody but Ralph Angel. And just like Charley had said, which I forgot to mention, everything Ralph Angel did, Ralph Angel went to prison and did what he did on his own. I don't know why they keep bringing up the fact that the man made a mistake and went to prison. I don't know what that had to do with anything. He did that to himself. Both of them apparently felt like Earnest was punishing them or something, but he wasn't. He explained it very well in that will that I don't believe he wrote. But anyway, it was explained and written out very well. Okay, because he complimented the both of them. He let them know that he loves the both of them in that will. So anyway, that's her problem with it. She was just feeling some kind of way, and it's really her own guilt is what the problem is. She stayed away for the wrong reason. She stayed away out of her own pride. Okay, that had nothing to do with Earnest. Earnest loved her. So, she even got mad later on, and she told Ralph Angel that daddy didn't even commit to mama until she was pregnant with you. She made that about Ralph Angel. She was blaming that on him. He was like, you can't put all that on me. She couldn't. So Charley and Nova are mad with Earnest, and he's not there. So they taking it out on Ralph Angel. Basically is what's happening. She's upset about that. And at some point she's in the room looking through the box. When she gets by herself, she's going through that box that Darla and Ralph Angel found, and she sees her mother's wedding ring. She sees a picture of her and her mother, and she's crying and everything. She sees a birthday card or something that somebody had given somebody, and she's having a real sentimental moment and whatnot, and it moves her and everything. And so like I said, it was at that point that she goes out there and she attacks Ralph Angel about this is why Daddy left it to her. He knew he couldn't trust you and all this kind of stuff. Just mean and nasty. Basically, she's making her issues, she's taking them and deflecting them off on Ralph Angel, which is what Charley was doing. But Charley did calm down a little bit in the beginning, okay? She was not as aggressive as Nova was with Ralph Angel, okay? Because really and truly, Nova doesn't really have anything to offer Ralph Angel as far as that land's concerned. What is she gonna do except some physical labor? And it's only so much that she can give him of that. Charley is really the one that he can benefit from her help, really. So I don't even understand why Nova is acting so arrogant. This is just my perspective of her, y'all. She's very arrogant about something, and Ralph Angel can really do without Nova, in my opinion. He can. But that's neither here nor there. Maybe it's something I'm not seeing yet. Maybe I done forgot something. Y'all please remind me in the comments below what Nova really brings to the table. Please. So anyway, like I said, she attacked him and told Ralph Angel that Daddy wouldn't even marry Mama, commit to her until you were born or till you came around. And I got to thinking, she thinks that it was about her and that Ernest didn't love her. The reality in my mind, and going based on what my experience is with people and family, is that Earnest wanted a son. A lot of men want sons to leave an inheritance to. They want to leave, especially land. If they have a son, they want to leave it to the son in an ideal situation. And that's what he was doing. He saw Ralph Angel. He was the one that was going to carry his name on and his legacy on. See, if Nova and Charley, which Charley did get married, Nova got married, her last name was going to change. Ralph Angel was the one that's going to maintain the name. So to keep the land in his name, it had to go down through a boy. Okay? And really, you know, and that's my theory about that. He wanted it to pass down through a son. So that is why he did what he did. So, you know, once again, Nova has taken it and made it personal. And to me, it didn't have anything to do with Ralph Angel. She just her and Charley wasted a whole lot of energy attacking Ralph Angel, when they really should have sat down and probably talked to each other about the problem they had with Earnest. Okay? Now, this is where I got mad with Ralph Angel. Darla, when Darla was sitting there at the table and Charley came in and told Darla to go down there and fill that paperwork out, because I was glad that Darla still had a job, because, you know, after episode 6, I was wondering if she was going to still employ Darla. Darla needed to work and she needed the money. So I was wondering if that girl's going to still have a job, because Charley can be kind of mean sometimes. But she did. She said, she's my employee. I need her to go down there. Ralph Angel interrupted her, telling me, nah, she ain't going nowhere. You can't go, Darla. Darla's sitting there not saying anything at that point. But I've already learned that I don't care how quiet Darla seems, Darla got more sense than the rest of them. Darla's stronger than we give her credit for. But while he was trying to stop her and attacking, telling Charley that y'all just want her to leave so y'all can attack me and gang up on me, Aunt Vi said, you comparing apples to orange. She said that doesn't have anything to do with what's going on here. They got an emergency down there, and he's still trying to tell her what kind of paper emergency they got. And Aunt Vi was, you know, voice of reason. This ain't got nothing to do with nothing else. Basically, you need to let her go on and do her job, okay? So at some point, it's obvious that Darla has made up her mind that she's going to go to work. Now, see, Darla may not argue and fuss with you, but at the end, Darla gonna do what she want to do. And I like that about it. They call that passive aggressive, where I come from. But she was right. She's passive aggressive with wisdom. She didn't argue and fight with him. She just got on up at some point, and she let him say and feel what he wanted to feel. But she had made her decision that she was going to work. So him and her are outside arguing and fussing, or he fussing at her. You can't go. How that's gonna look? You supposed to be with me. You got to be by my side. He forgetting that this girl got to work, and he forgetting that they need money. And he's attacking her and telling her, you need to stay here. They got each other. I ain't got nobody but you. You my family. You know, being spoiled, a brat like he is, make me sick. Now, that's where he makes me mad, when he acts like that. Okay, he wasn't right with Darla. He wasn't treating her right. She trying to do what's right and stay sober, and she's trying to work her job. And he trying to stop her. He's trying to hinder her. See, some people can hinder your advancement. And he's a prime example of that. He thought he was just saying something was right, but he was being selfish. Okay, but Darla told him, she said, I know you may feel bad and you might hurt what you think is me treating you wrong. She says, actually love. I'm fixing to go do what I got to do. She reminded him that she lost her job at the parking lot because she left her job to come help them clean flies off of some sugar cane. See, he had forgotten she had done that. And she was letting him know, I ain't gonna let you get me fired from this job too. I tried to help you. What I'm about to do now is out of love. She jumped in her car and she left. I was like, go, Darla, good for you. She said, you'll get over it. Okay? So, y'all hold on just a second. Okay, you guys, I'm back. I had to stop for a moment and get myself together. I was feeling a little lightheaded because I hadn't eaten anything. I've been drinking a protein shake, and I guess that ain't doing the job. But anyway, going back to Darla. So Darla goes down to the mill to get the paperwork. Remy and Mr. Duvall are standing out there having a conversation, and they're talking about Charley and how he had to admit that he hates to admit it, but Charley's right about, I guess, about the paperwork. And whatever, they're just laughing and joking, him and Mr. Duvall. And Darla walks up with the paperwork and gives it to him, but she's obviously been crying. She's wiping tears from her eyes. And Remy's like, are you okay? Is everything gonna be all right? And she was like, yeah, it's just been a long day. And she wanders off on back into the house. Of course, we know that she's upset because of the conversation that she's had with Ralph Angel. She loves Ralph Angel, and she's trying to help him, but he's hindering her. He's stopping her, or trying to stop her. He doesn't know that he's doing it, but he is, and she's upset about that. And so this is an issue for her. So carrying on with Darla. Darla, at some point later on in the episode, she goes to the house to see Blue. And when she gets there, Ralph Angel opens the door, and he's peeping out the door because he's still mad. You know, makes me sick when he acts like this, like a big baby. He's mad. And he's not letting her in the house. She's come to pick up Blue to take him swimming. Ralph Angel acting a fool with her. And she's like, I came to pick up Blue. But she's talking to him. She says, I know you're upset and everything, but I had to do what I had to do. And they have a conversation. So Darla's like, you know, I know you're upset, but I'm not going to let anything stand in the way of me seeing Blue. And so Ralph Angel proceeds to go off on her after he yells and tells Blue, Blue, put your shorts on or whatever. You know, put your swimming trunks on. And so he's like, it's what you want. He goes into this spoil spiel again like he does. It's all about you and what you want. And really, his situation with his family has nothing to do with Darla. Darla's not his wife. She doesn't owe him anything. She don't have to do what he wants her to do. But that's the kind of conversation he had with her. You just do what you want to do. It's what you want. Darla ain't here for it. Darla ain't trying to argue with him. She's talking to him real soft and sweet, softer than I would talk to him. And she finally just says, you know what, I'll be in the car waiting on Blue. So she goes out. He closes the door on her, acting like a butthole, of course, like a big baby. And this is, like I said, how he treated Darla, that made me mad. But I know that he's going to get over that because he usually does, okay? So after that, let me go back. Aunt Vi and Nova. Aunt Vi is sitting there shelling some peas one day, or that day, and Nova comes in after she's been going through that box, and she's like, no, actually Nova had gone down to the library to research that will, to research the land and all of that, which she should have been done. Now all of a sudden she's researching, trying to get the history of the property and what's going on with it. And she finds out that Aunt Vi at one point owned part of, or half of the property, of the land. And she tells Aunt Vi, she said, you sat up there and listened to us fighting, arguing all this time. You own part of the land. And so that's when Aunt Vi starts telling her backstory. She reminds her that she had married her first husband, who we didn't even know she had been married, was Jimmy. I think his name was Jimmy Dale. She married. And while they were living out on the property, well, before she married him, Earnest did not want her to marry Jimmy Dale. So Earnest and her fell out about Jimmy Dale. They stopped speaking to each other, and they were living right down the same property. Okay? When their mother died and she went to the funeral, Earnest and her wasn't even speaking to each other then. And she said she was upset, but she couldn't figure out if she was more upset about her mom being dead or about her and her brother not speaking. So that went on. They were at odds with each other. So she continued. Of course, she was still married to Jimmy Dale. Jimmy Dale had issues, drinking problems, and he started to get rough with her, meaning he was beating on her. And some kind of way Earnest found out about him, because Aunt Vi said she never told him. So even though they weren't speaking, had not spoken for some years, apparently, Earnest came to her rescue, and he came and he took Jimmy Dale on a fishing trip. She said she don't know what happened on that fishing trip, but when they came back, she said Jimmy Dale packed up all his stuff and he left her alone. So she was free again. But Jimmy Dale was going to try to, basically, she had to buy him out of the house that they were in so that she could, you know, keep the house. And so what she did was sold her portion of the land to Ernest. Ernest didn't bail her out. He didn't give her no money. But anyway, she wound up selling him her part of the land so that she could buy Jimmy Dale out of the house that they lived in. But Ernest, she realized during that time when he came to her rescue, she said she was happy because she had her brother back again. She said the message she was sending Nova was that regardless of what happened, no matter how angry we were with each other, because she felt like she had done him wrong too. She said it didn't matter what went down. When he needed her, when she needed him the most, Ernest was there for her. He came to her rescue and he saved her, and that let her know that he did love her. Just because family members don't speak and because you fall out don't mean you don't love each other. And she was letting Nova know that there are more important things, and that's your brother, and he's family, and he gonna always be family. And I'm pretty sure Nova got something out of that, and that was the gist of the conversation. Me and Ernest fell out at one time too, so y'all can see that what's going on between Charley, Nova, and Ralph Angel is kind of indicative of Earnest and Vi. It's like they are, of course, they're extensions of Earnest. They got his personality. They're a lot alike their daddy. Okay, they're a lot like him. All right. So anyway, she tells her that, and the moral of that story was that's your brother. Y'all need to love each other. That's family at the end of the day. Because like I said, Nova was still mad with Ralph Angel as if he'd done something to her. So anyway, the next thing you see is Ralph and Hollywood. How they're sitting outside, or one of the next things you see is they're sitting outside. No, Ralph Angel is inside like the shed outside, and he's doing some work, and Hollywood comes out and gives him a beer, and they sit down and they have a conversation, and he's telling him that he don't know about him and Darla. He loves Darla and all this kind of stuff, and how his daddy, you know, they just have a heart-to-heart talk, and Hollywood tells him this too shall pass. You're going to stay on this land, you're going to work the land, and you're going to do well on the land, you're going to raise your family here, and everything going to be good. This too shall pass. And, you know, Ralph Angel had told him that nobody trusts him and that he don't know what's going to happen. His daddy left him the land, and he don't even know what to do with it. And basically, he didn't want to fail his father, is what he was telling Hollywood. And Hollywood let him know everything going to be all right. So don't even worry about it. So that was kind of the overall gist of that episode. Everybody had their own issues. Now, Nova, I guess what Aunt Vi must have told her must have helped her, because she changed her mind, her mood changed, and she calls Robert Dubois, and she makes arrangements to go on and visit him. So she gets her lingerie together, so you know she getting ready to do what she do best, and that's sleep with the man. And she packs her bags up, because she's going, you hear her talking to him on the phone, and she's getting ready to go and see Dubois. Okay. And that's pretty much how the episode ends. You don't really see Ralph Angel and well, no, I missed something, y'all. I left something out. Charley, the day comes when she's having her interview with that reporter, the man named Ben. Well, they're down at the mill, and she's sitting there getting her makeup and hair done, and she's practicing what she's going to say. And so he comes up and he says, you know how white people be on time, baby. They have a schedule. He came up and said, why are you doing that? Let's go ahead on and do this interview. She's like, okay, let's go ahead and do it. So he asked her a question, something to the effect of, what do you think, what would your father think of you being this agricultural, of her actually reinventing herself as an agricultural success, something to that effect. And she starts trying to explain to him she's not reinventing herself, and she stops and she has an epiphany or something. She begins to have a moment, and she says, you asked me what my father would think. And she's stumbling over her words, and the reporter's looking at her like, you know, like, okay, what's the problem? He's confused. And she's like, you asked me what my father would think. And she's like, huh. And suddenly she realizes that she doesn't know what her father would think. She realizes that everything that she thought he would do, and what she thought he thought of her, is not real. She doesn't know. And she has to tell the reporter, you know, I don't know what my father would think. So that was really a moment of freedom, a release for Charley, is that she admitted for the first time that she don't know something. and that she admitted that she was lost about something. And I knew then that this was the beginning of her change as a person. And I say it's going to be something good the next episode. I knew episode 8 was going to be in her favor, or in all of them's favor, because every one of them got an epiphany. She got an epiphany at that point, I know that. So I couldn't wait to see what was going to happen in episode 8. So episode 7 was all about everybody getting their skeletons out of their closet and putting all their bones on the table. And everybody showing who they really were and what their problem was with the land and with each other, with their father. So we learned a lot about them as people on this particular episode. Well, y'all, I'm going to stop this video right here because I got to go and watch episode 8 again, because I fell asleep on it like an old lady Wednesday night because I was so tired. It was late Wednesday night when I watched it after my radio show. So I'm going to go watch it again. And then I'm going to come back with my review of episode 8, which is the mid-season finale. I hate to see it go, but you know what? We got something to look forward to. We got Greenleaf. Greenleaf will be back this month, and I'm so happy about it because I can't wait to see what Grace or Gigi done did to, if she done killed Uncle Mac, y'all. All right, but anyway, thank you for clicking on the link. I'm sorry that I did ramble anyway, because I was all over the place trying to remember details from the episode, because I only took a few notes this time. But I hope everybody got the gist. Of those of you who maybe have not seen it and just wanted to know what was going on, that is about it. So we know at the end of the day, Ralph Angel and Darla are fighting with each other, or they're at odds with each other. Nova has ran off to Atlanta, is on her way to Atlanta to see Rob Duvall, but yet Charley has had an epiphany. So basically, Charley, Nova, and Ralph Angel have not yet come together and actually solidified or solved the issue that they have, but each one of them are being dealt with in their own way. Okay, so anyway, until I come back, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye bye.